Hey, you guys. I just want to tell you a story about what happened when I worked at Zales Jewelers. I worked at Zales in the early 2000s, and I was really good at what I did because of my previous experience in jewelry. I was a top salesperson for 6 months, the whole 6 months I was there. During that time I was there was someone going around Hellsberg Diamonds stealing jewelry. They had stole up to $150,000 worth of jewelry, and then they hit one of the Zales stores in Gwinnett County for about $8,000. We had really no description of the jewelry thief. They just told us that he was really good. And I was really good at, because it was very slow in my store, I was very good at timing myself. I timed myself for all my presentations. I would time myself for long presentations, short presentations, and also would practice presentations based on people's personalities too. So one day this guy comes into the store and he looks very meek and he's very soft-spoken, very polite. He comes into the store and he's interested in our most expensive item, which was the Zales diamond for about $8,000. And he sounded like he knew what he's talking about as far as the 4Cs and diamonds. And I opened the case and to let him look at the stone, and I gave him a loop so he could look at the stone and look at the quality of the stone. What made the stone very nice was that it was an 8-sided diamond, and it had more facets than a regular diamond, which a regular diamond only had 58. I think the Zales diamond had about 85. So he was talking about it, and he would give it back to me, and then he would ask for it back, and he went kind of back and forth. He was very calm, which I thought was odd because any person that comes into a jewelry store, or every person that comes into a jewelry store, they're all anxious. I can tell by their body language. Some are more anxious than others, but this guy was completely calm. But one thing I thought was really weird is that I just happened to look at my watch, and I noticed that every time I asked him a question, he would respond in exactly 7 minutes. Like he had paused while he was talking. There was no or anything like that. It wasn't like something they had to think about. It was like perfectly timed. And he did this for about 3 or 4 times. And he would, in between him not talking, he'd wait literally 2 minutes and then he would talk again. And I was like, wow, this is funny because no one ever talks on time. Everyone has a pattern, but they never talk like that unless it's staged. So I had a gut feeling that this is the one that's stealing the jewelry. So I'm working with this other guy. His name is Dan. He's been with the company about 16 years. And we had like a code that we talked about from our meeting if we ever needed to get the police involved if we caught the thief. And so our code was to ask someone to make a phone call on extension 210, which was code for we need another pair of eyes, another pair of hands over here, and while you call the police as well. So I told this guy, can you please call my husband on extension 210? I really need to call him and check on the baby. And this other guy totally froze, and he's like, 210 extension? What are you talking about? And so I had to briefly excuse myself, and I did it in a very calm way so the guy would not know. And I walked over to the other associate and I was like, do you remember from the meeting, that's the call for a thief? This guy is stealing. We need to call the police and keep him here. So while I'm calling the police and getting a description, why don't you go back over to him and keep him occupied till the police get there? So I'm assuming that since he's been with the company a long time, he's got a lot of poise about him, and that he's going to keep the guy here. And he had no poker face at all. He smiled at the thief from ear to ear as if, yeah, we caught you. And he stuttered and fumbled and dropped his keys and just stuttered and fumbled the whole time. So the thief kind of stood back, and he was kind of like, yeah, I changed my mind. I think I'm gonna go. And the other guy tried to run up to him, which was totally not in the playbook or whatever, to keep him in the store. Like, are you sure you don't want to look at anything else? We got this, we got that. I mean, he just was real pushy. And it was really making the guy like, oh, okay, I guess the jig is up. Something's happening. So I called the police again. I was like, can you get here? Because he's leaving the store right now. He's leaving the store. And the police were like, why don't you casually, once he leaves the store, casually look out the door to see what direction he's going to. So I hung up with the police, and I did that. And so I discreetly looked out our exit, and I noticed that he was going to the right. And to the right at the mall is kind of like where the parking garage is, where the trains are, where Marta is. And so the police ran down to the store, and then they asked us where he went, and I told them. So they, it was the security, and then they called more people. And then I gave them a perfect description of what the guy looked like. And they're like, oh, okay, we're going to go after him. We're going to catch him. So they were kind of too late in catching him by foot. He actually got, one of the police officers saw him get on a MARTA bus, and he actually had a bag with him. So I guess he had already stolen something from another store, from another jewelry store. And so they rushed to, the police officers rushed to catch the MARTA bus, to stop it, to apprehend him. And they finally did. And when some of the police officers that were part of the apprehension came back to the store, they said he actually had hit Helzberg Diamonds again, the same location, and had $80,000 worth of product on him. So he's going to jail for a long time. And they're like, good job. You should win an award. That's great that you apprehended him so he can stop stealing or whatever. And so I was kind of saying, but I was acting. I was like, oh, I couldn't have done it without the other coworker that was there, but the other coworker kind of messed things up. And so he was apprehended. He was the person that was stealing from other stores, and they recovered almost all of the jewelry. And so I had got a letter from corporate thanking me for for apprehending this person, and they gave me a $5,000 check. And so I had called corporate back and I said, can you reissue the check but share it with everyone in the store? It was like 4 people in the store. And basically the other employee, which he was kind of a grouch, I should say, he kind of said, oh, that is so dumb that you're sharing it with us. And I was like, do you want it or not? Oh, he's like, of course I want it. I was like, I just think it's rude that you would even say that, but whatever. So I was very proud of myself. And for a long time, my district manager was like, I'm going to be watching you, Aisha. I'm going to be watching your moves because you know how to catch them. And I have told that story during every other interview that I've had at other jewelry stores. And I think that's always won the managers over that I could do this. Thank you for listening.